welcome back to the channel. So I'm continuing on with my build here. Now I thought, okay, so we have the A to B already established. We don't necessarily have the quote-unquote tier 2 commodities established yet. So I thought, what a fun way to explore tier 2 commodities is why not give the player the ability to buy a factory. Then, instead of just selling the tier 1 commodities, they can bring the tier 1 commodities to the factory and they can convert them into tier 2 commodities. So it'll cost money to get the factory. We don't want to make it cost experience because experience is a tier 2 thing, right? Levels is kind of like a tier 3 sort of overall, if you want to see it that way. So I'm just kind of dabbling here. We have this one here. This one's for the logs. And this one here is for the pallets. That's the pallet buyer. That's the log buyer. I haven't done anything yet. I just placed them in here and then... Sorry, I'm just drinking a pop. I placed them in here and then I'm just testing out the door. And I thought, okay, so like... Can the excavator fit in there? You know? So if you go and get logs, for example, and you bring them back here, you'll get like lumber credit, quote unquote lumber credit. And that'll give you like furniture, so you can turn it into furniture. And then you can sell that furniture to the stores. To me, it makes more sense than just going to a distributor and just buying a special commodity and then, you know, going and selling it. It's kind of... because there was only one special commodity, right? And... I think instead the base truck and the base crane can handle all the other crates. I just have to put the hooks on them, which I can do right now actually. And then that way with the base truck that you start with, you can earn money. That is what you'll be able to use to purchase a house. Then when you purchase a house, you can purchase a factory. So this will save the fact that you have the factory. All the stuff will be saved into your... So when you purchase a house, there's going to be like a little profile. And that's where you'll choose what you buy, a factory. And then obviously we're going to need a warehouse, right? So I thought, okay, so you bring the logs in here and you drop them off. You bring the other stuff in here and you drop them off. Okay, and then like, so what does this thing do? Well, what the screen does is it has this value number of logs, right? So when we do the, when we made the timer, let's see here. I want to see if this will work. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to try right now. And then if it doesn't work, there's always another way to do it on the back end. So with the timer, holy moly, we gotta go all the way down here. All the way down here. Alright. So you see how it updates? Function, update health, and then it updates that. So what I want to do is I want to copy this timer. And I want to take it and I want to put it in here. In the screen, I want to insert, let's see, we'll just paste into. And then we need a local script. So we need insert object, we need a regular script. And then we'll just take this here and we'll copy it and we'll just paste it into there. Perfect. Okay, then I'll close all the scripts so I don't confuse myself. And then we'll call this factory save A. And then what we want to do is, so the number in question is going to be script.parent dot number of logs. Script.parent dot number of logs, because that's the number that changes that goes on the screen. If you see on the screen here, and we have, which one is it? One of these is number of logs, yeah, which is that one there. So when that value changes, instead of changing a text label, what we want to do is I want to see if we can hook it up to a data save. So let's see here. Let's see. Let's see here. Just wondering what I already have the most of the code that we need. If you've been following along, we already have most of this code already invented. We just need to find it and piece it together. So what we need to do is we need to go to our level store. I guess it doesn't really matter. Somewhere where there's a data save, and we need to connect to our data save. All right. So we connect to our data save, and what we want to do is on our player added script, we need to have another section down here, which will be another folder. All right, and then we'll have to call this, instead of champ levels, this will be champ factory. All right, and then what we need is we need some values for the factory. So the first value name is going to be factory. All right, so when the player joins, they're going to have a folder called factory, and this one here is going to be station A is what we're going to call this. Now we're going to need 4 different values. We're going to need fuel. We're going to need furniture. We're going to need what else can we do? Frozen, and then just general goods. So we'll need at least 3 that we can export. And then there's hay. So food, we can do 4. We can do 4. So we'll take this, we'll copy it. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first one is going to be food. And the second one is going to be frozen. Then the third one is going to be fuel. This is the inbound. And then the last one, we can have frozen food. What did I say? There was hay, there was fish, there's logs, furniture. Furniture, and I guess we could do liquids as well. You know, let's do one more. Let's do liquids. And that could be anything. You know, there's a lot of liquids, types of liquids. I mean, you could do food liquids. You know, commodities and stuff. So now, we need to make sure that we associate the right variables here. And this way we can search the player. We just search the player for the value, and if they don't have the value, then they don't have access to the... It's that simple. It's really easy. Because they get the values when they join the game, and then it saves it, right? And then that way, this is how we can... So, because I was just thinking, like, we want the player to explore the game. And if it's a game where you have to gather resources and bring them back to a location, it's really important that the player is going to spend a lot of time doing that. So you want to give the player the ability to save the time that they're investing in the game. If you don't, depending on the type of game that you make, either people aren't going to play or they're not going to be interested in just investing that much time. So I find that if you're able to give the player the ability to save their production, then you're giving them the ability to invest their time. And hopefully they're gonna want to invest that time. So this will be fuel. This will be furniture. Let's just copy that just in case the keyboard decides to And this will be like this. So obviously this is going to be like a multi-part, probably 3 or 4 parts to it. As you can see, I'm saving a little bit here. So let's just go over what we've done. We've created when the player joins the game, we created a folder called Factory. And in there we have these values: food, frozen, fuel, furniture, and liquids. So we don't need this anymore because we've connected the factory save to our data store. So let's just play the game first off. Let's check to make sure that it creates those folders. And now this kind of slows the game down a little bit, right? Because now you have to communicate more with the server to get all of your data, right? So we go to our players, there's the factory, but the factory is empty. So let's see why the factory is empty. Probably because I messed up on the parent part. The parent should be... Yeah, you see food dot parent is levels. It should be here, champ factory. Otherwise it was in that folder. Oh, that's okay. That's why. It was in the levels folder. Oh no, it should be factory. It should be factory. Yeah, I just thought, you know what, let's do something different. Let's kind of spice up the game a little bit and just give more of a tricky playthrough. Because we have 5 levels, right? So we can, in theory, have 5 tiers of things for the player to do. And I am going to introduce cars and I am going to introduce some other stuff. So I want to have, a way of doing that. And then you figure, okay, to get to the 5th tier, you need 100,000 experience. And right now, you're only getting 50 experience at tier, tier 2. So even if you're doing real estate, you're never gonna make it. So I thought, okay, we need another way. We need to give the player more options and more chances to earn more experience that's fun and engaging, because otherwise you're gonna be like a rabbit in a wheel and you're gonna get bored. Well, let's make it not so bored. Okay, so we're just checking the player. There it is. Okay, and there are all our values. Perfect. So now that we have all of the values, I guess, to be honest, because we don't know I'm just thinking about the way I just set that up. I don't think we need this much. I think we just need one. Honestly, one value, that's it. It's going to take all types of commodities, but we only need one value. Maybe two. Maybe two for fuel. And that's it. Sorry, I apologize for that. We'll do 2. One will be food, and then one will be fuel. And that'll be it. And that, because it's going to take fuel to run the factory. That's how I want to do it. Yeah. I'm just thinking, because then I have to track each one, and it gets to be complicated. This way, it doesn't matter which you bring in. You could bring in 4 of each of one kind, and you know what I mean. It doesn't matter which one. It'll buy every kind, but it's just easier to track the number. And then this will give you a one type of credit that we can save, and then when you buy, you'll use one type of credit to buy. It's just an easier system. It's simpler that way for us as coders. Yeah. So, okay, so in here, this is the value, number of logs. So when it changes, what we want to do is, okay, first off, we need a p-call for this one here. Let's see here. Just make it. I just like to make little headers here so I can track it. Factory, like that. All right, and then we just need 2 P calls here. And that's it. And we'll say food data, and then this one here is going to be fuel data. Now, when I do the fuel system later on, I'll have to, maybe we'll do this factory fuel is maybe what we'll call that actually. Factory. Factory fuel data, and this can be factory fuel. There we go. So then that is going to be here, and that is going to be here. So now we need, instead of cash champs, this is going to be food factory. Oh. Factory food, and let's see here, copy. And this one here is going to be factory fuel. Perfect. Now, to the cash dot value, this needs to be food. And instead of XP dot value, this needs to be factory fuel. I'll make sure that all right, so that should be good. And then we can say a leaderboard, factory, and then this could say factory fuel. Something like that. All right, and then we have our factory food, which is our buying power, and then this is our fuel, which is, I don't know what we need, I guess, when it's to have it turned on. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not too sure yet. That's why I'm like, maybe it just buys, but you know what? We're gonna need this so it can process. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have something separate set up for that. Okay, so now that we have those 2 values, now what we need to do is that when this property changes, we want to see if it's going to save to these values. So we need to say, where are we here? Show and explore. We're there. Freight buyer is this one. Okay, that's inside the factory, right? Which is here. Okay, and then the log buyer. Oh, that's already in there. Okay, that's in the factory. That's in there. So this is got to go inside bay. This will be going inside the house, right? Eventually. So I'm going to put this inside bay A. And now what I need to find is... what do I need to find? I need to find that door.value. There it is. Okay, so when the property change, so let's see, we need to make a local equals local player equals script dot parent. Where are we here exactly? Show explore. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. Dot door. Oh, nice. There it is. Dot door dot value. So then we can say game dot players, and we can say find first child player dot let's see the dot champ factory. Dot food dot value. Nice. Equals, and we'll do this here. +1, just like that. All right. So whenever it changes, it should give us +1 on that. So how do we change it now? Well, what we need to do is we need to take this one's pretty light actually. I'm going to duplicate that here. Might have to bring a forklift out as well. So first we're going to test if it can change, if it changes the property. It should. And if it changes the right property, then we'll test to see if it saves when it changes that property. And if it saves when it changes that property, then we have a powerful bit of code which we can use to enhance our games. That means anytime a stat changes on a player or something that we want to change. Oh, really? You're going to do that to me? After all that box, just gonna fly away. All right, and now we need a forklift. Let's see, trucks. That. This is just so I can drive it into the pallet jack. Did not want to work. I kept flying away into space. So I should have set it up so that way when it connects to it, it makes that whole thing go can't quite false and blah 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 blah. But you know what? You know what? All right. Cool, so here we are inside our little factory, playing around. It's a little small, like once you get all the stuff in there, you realize like there's not much room. So what I might do is I don't know what we're gonna do for the logs. I guess I should have tested to see if the loader would fit in here. I think it will. Logs would get extra credit and stuff for that stuff. And bonus experience, right? More experience here than what you would get for just selling the commodity. So you turn it in, you're going to get experience, you're going to get cash. Oh, I see. It's giving me an error because update health. Let's see, if we disable this script, and then when the player presses this button here, so you gotta be creative, right? When the player presses this button here, We're gonna go script apparent dot was it factory. That factory dot freight buyer. Nope. Dot factory dot freight buyer dot screen dot factory save a dot enable equals true. It needs a name. That's why it can't. Because it's trying to search the player, and it searches the player by the name. That is, I guess I could have just changed the name myself. So when we started it, but there we go. No errors so far. I'll check the value once I move into it. So obviously we'll turn that on. Oh, I knew it was going to grab it like that. Okay, so then oh, we got 2 for that. It hit twice. Okay, before it stopped. That's the risky part when you do this kind of stuff, right? Is that if it hits 2 to 3 times, you'll get that value every time. So what I should do is we should tell it to wait after it does this. Well, no, it updates every time that makes contact. So the actual, if there's going to be a wait, it's got to be in here. It's got to be in here. When it disappears. So that was boxes. Yeah, see right here. Let's see. It should wait 1. No, let's see. If we get rid of that, it should wait here. There we go. All right. Now we'll try that again. That's pretty good. Usually it takes a few more tries than that. I'm doing that now. So this is just the buy script for all the commodities. If this works, then what I'll do is I'll go back through the other scripts and I'll just make these subtle revisions. That's important. It's important to go through your stuff, and it's just important to check on it, make sure it works. All that good stuff. Okay, so that kind of works. So we got 1 value. Let's see if we can only get 1 value this time. Because +1 would be nice. It's okay if it does multiples. I suppose that's all right. Then we'll see if it can save that value. Is the next, every time it changes, we want it to save. We want it to set async every time. No way. That's a fail. It's stuck right to it. Testing continues. Testing continues. Right, so the idea is you go out in your truck, you get your 4 different types of commodities, you bring it back. Maybe you need fuel, maybe you get some hay, you know, or maybe you just get some boxes, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It could be all boxes and a little bit of fuel, right? All right. I didn't even get one that time. Uh-oh. So the weight was here. Maybe we need that. Let's check it out. Maybe we need that. Oh, because it's where it updates the value before the script gets destroyed. Yeah. I might have to do this one more time. This is the play part, right? This is the play part. So anyway, so what I'm trying to do is I'm hoping as you place your commodities in here, it'll save. Otherwise, you'll have to press a button save. It's just a lot, you know what I mean? And I just want to try and, I don't want to like fail safe it, but I want to make it as if I can get this to work, then it's just going to help later on with some other bits of code. Again, if I add fuel to the trucks, for example, it's possible then to sell or to save how much fuel you have in the vehicle. Yeah, see, it disappears. Let me see here. So it doesn't like the fact that it waits there. So let's see, it will destroys the object, then it gives you your value, then it gives you money, then it saves. Oh yeah, it just changes the number of logs dot value to plus 500. So you know why it's not working? Because I have to hit the green button. I do this sometimes, right? I skip a step And I'll rewrite the code, or I'll rewrite the code, and I'm like, oh man, really? All I had to do was skip a step. And then maybe the 3 or 4 times that you rewrite the code, it may have actually worked. But because I skipped the one step, it's not going to work at all. Like, see, I'm getting the cache, but I can't update the value because... So now it's got the 2 weights in there. Now we'll see what happens. You activate the house. There we go. See, and you're probably wondering, well, how is it that it gives you the money? Because when you click on here, I guess I could have got the name of the player from there too. I don't know. It's probably safer. It's probably safer that way to do it through that button over there than just this button over here. You know, I mean, just kind of thinking ahead here. So that should go in there. Okay, so now let's see if we got 2 hits on that one. So let's take the weight out. It was originally taken out and changed. Let's see if it changes it down just to 1. If it doesn't, it's fine. Then you hit it a couple times, whatever. Let's wait here. Oh, it should. I guess it doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Now it didn't even go 1. Did I press the button? Oh, did I press the button? It's green. I was like, please be red, please be red. No. All right, but you kind of get the idea, right? So now you turn it in, and now you're getting warehouse credits. Hopefully. There's another way to do it too. I mean, if this doesn't work, I could do it all at that station. I just don't really want to. You just fire it through here and then... Did I do it again? Okay, so whatever. So it hits twice. You get 2 points per shot. Okay, that's fine. So then what we can do is we can take... We can even make it the number of logs dot value. I mean, if that's really the case, we can say where is it here? In the updates, food of value equals fuel, right? And then that way, every time it hits, okay, let's try that. So we're gonna try this. I'm gonna save it here, and then we'll assume that it works, which it does. It's able to change the value, and then what we'll do is we'll focus on getting it to save. I should just be able to put in a couple of pcall functions there, and it should save automatically as the integer changes. And that's just kind of trying to show the powerful part of this. So if you wanted to do a game where you save the player's position, then you use this function, right? Update integer or whatever, and it just reads the player's position, and every time it changes, or every whatever 10 seconds, it updates the player's position, and you can save it. And that way, when the player spawns in, you can tell the player to spawn in at XYZ, which you've saved already to the server. Which is kind of helpful if you're doing like a fantasy type game and you want the player to feel like they're lost in the map, and when they spawn in, they're not in the village, they spawn in somewhere else where, you know, where their global position is. Almost forgot to hit the button. Yeah, so then after this, oh, see, it doesn't want that anymore. Got the error on the fuel where we said we wanted the number to be plus fuel. It's saying it can't do that. It has to be, oh, because it's number of logs. So we need to say fuel.value. That's right, there we go. So this just came to me as a thought this afternoon. I thought, okay, hey, what next could I do? Is it possible to add like a tier 2 sort of freight, and how could I do that? And then I thought, okay, well, let's give the player the opportunity to trade in their cargo. And then I thought, you know, the logistics behind it, like, if you want the player to take their time, they're not going to have enough time to complete that whole process at once. Maybe a few players might, but not every player, right? So if you give the player the ability to save throughout that process, then what you're doing is more players are going to be a part of that process. They'll have the time to do it. So, oh, we got to hit the button over here, right? Because now all I would have to do is go out to a depot, purchase some freight, load it onto my flatbed, come back here, and store it in there. And now I've got purchasing points, right? And then I can come in, I can purchase furniture or whatever onto here, deliver it to the stores, and then I can get additional experience and money. But to get here, this costs cash. So initially, you still have to do the initial grind to get the cash to buy all this stuff so you can get the experience. That's neat, you know. It's a game. We had to make a game somehow, right? And transportation games are hard to make, because you have to be creative on a transportation type level. So that should be 500. It should be 500 there. It is perfect. Look at that. So that's how many credits you're going to get every time you turn it in. Now let's see if we can get it to save. So what we need to do to get it to save, we've already connected our data store. What we need now is 2 of these fancy pcalls here. Do we need 2? No, we just need 1. We just need 1. And this is going to be for the, well, we need 2. 1 for food and 1 for fuel. But we'll just cover food in this one. So then what we want to do is we want to go down to our player added script. Okay, and we want to go down to where we have the food, and That's the update health one. This is the boxes. Okay, we don't need this one right now. This should be player. You see how it's got name here? We can replace this because we have player up here. Let's go game dot players, find first child, the name, right? Player. And then we'll say dot leader stats, but instead of cache, we're gonna go to dot champ factory, right? We're gonna go to our factory instead. And then we're gonna go to this value here is the one that we want to save is food. So we then have to change this. That will work. Cache.value, that works. We have to change this to player. We're just modifying our P call so that way it works with the updates here. And then we'll try it out and we'll see if it goes through. Food.value. And instead of data, what I like to do is I like to use this here food data, just the same variable, even though it doesn't matter because this variable is only for this script, but it's just nice. And then we need this variable. Then we do need this variable. Just like that. And that'll be this variable here. Just like that. There we go. So now it should save every time we get value, and then it should load. So all we did is we said when the number updates, change this value, and now we're saying when the number updates, change this value, and then save the fact that the value has been changed. Kind of getting into more advanced scripting, right? But this is really handy if you have a system where someone is using magic, or someone is running and they have a stamina value, and then when stamina gets low, they can only certain walk speed then, right? This is how you do it, is you set a number and then you use this update integer function, and you can do all these neat things because it's a function just like everything else, right? Like a mouse click, like a remote event function, it's a function. So that means when the function activates, you can add code to it which does things. You can tell it to fire a server event. You can tell it to do all this neat stuff. All right, so this will pretty much be the end, of it here. Yeah, I just the factory build part 1, and then this is just going to be storing player data, I guess, right? Being able to save values. Once again, there's, so we do that, we activate it. All right, we hop in here, we drive it. All right, now it said transactions saved. Now, I don't know if that was that transaction. So we have 500 points now. Oh no, we don't have anything. Why is that? Oh, you know why? Because I didn't press the button. I didn't press the button. One more time. So now that the player is able to input data into the factory, right, which is what we have here, we can then use that data, we can compile that data, we can manipulate that data however we want. We can split it up, we can divide it, right? We can transfer it to other elements. For example, don't fail me now, keyboard. getting... Seriously? Come on, you. Come on, you. We just got to get through this one example, and then I'll change the battery. Alright, so that is what happens when you use a wireless keyboard and the battery gets low. Alright, perfect. And then we'll do this here, gotta go here, and then that's there. There we go. It saved twice, it said. Transactions saved twice. So we got 500 there. So now if we leave the game, it actually said 3 times. Boxes, factory save 21, boxes, and factory saved. So it saved when it gave me the money, and then it saved twice for the factory. That's pretty good. So now if we load back into the game, we have our value. There we go. Perfect. So that's going to do it for this video. Part 1 of basically building a factory. Now that we're able to add value and store it in a certain area, we're now able to do certain things. So data comes in. I could now build something on the back here, right? Maybe a conveyor belt. So the logs come in, they get processed. A conveyor belt for this stuff, it comes in, it gets processed, does some stuff. And then it's going to get stored over here. And then we'll be able to, I don't know, press a button and have it spawn. And then you can just load the elements onto your truck. And away it goes. Yeah, that's sort of what I thought, you know. So I thought, hey, let's see if we can make a video out of it and test it out. And this is what we got. So thank you so much for watching today's video. That'll be part 1. And I will see you all in the next one.